Test, 1, 2, 3, test, test, 1, 2, 3, test.
So microphone, wireless microphone, fine. The second wireless microphone, Lele?
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Allô. Allô. 1, 2, 3, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3.
Je pense que celui-là est un peu saturé. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes.
Test 1, 2. Test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. It's all good.
Okay. The two others that we did not test it.
Can you test the ones, the microphones that you have? Yes, no. The third one?
Test 1, 2, test, test.
Okay, for the wireless microphones, always remember to switch off when you collect from the media representatives, please. Make sure the battery is charged and make sure it's turned on before you hand it to the media representative. Okay? Cool. Thank you. Any feedback from the IBC? Sound is good. Let's hope this is the last sound check we do today. Thank you.
English time, no? Test 1, 2, 3.
السلام عليكم. صافي سمر. ها؟ قول لي مالو؟ نوفل. هو رشيد معاه. شنو غتقول لي؟
لا خويا هذا خلينا فيه الانترناسيونال واحد تيست ديال الصراط طلعت عندنا ما عرفنا فين خارجه.
لا قول لي غير قول لي انا اللي كنتست من الميكرو نيشان ديريكت. هذاك الصوت غيخرج عندك هذاك هو الفلور اللي غيخرج عندك. يلا سير يلا.
Bonjour à tous. Bienvenue. I'm just going to allow everybody else to sit down so that we can begin this press conference. Please note that we have translation here. French 1, English 2, Arabic 3, and the rest of the languages, of course, is, I think it's Portuguese language option 4. Thank you very much for... It's in English, President. I'm just going to allow the people at the back, the band was showing the press conference live. So if I can help me, if you've got a cell phone, please put it on silent. We're just going to sort out translation in the front desk, and then we will be done in a minute. Thank you very much for attending this press conference. We are just a few hours away to the final of the biggest competition in African football, if not global football, the Africa Cup of Nations, the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. With a couple of hours to go, we've got the president of CAF to give us, of course, the roundup of what has been generally regarded as the most successful AFCON in the history of AFCON. He's joined by the two vice presidents of CAF and, of course, also the general secretary, Mr. Veron Mosengo Omba. Mr. President, first of all, I know that we are starting on a sad note with our colleague in the media who has sadly departed here. Mr. President, please, the press conference is yours. Thank you.
Is it on now? It's on?
We can hear you.
Yeah. Just before we start, just a moment of silence out of respect to our colleague, the journalist from Mali, who lost his life in bed. Just a moment of silence and respect. And prayer as well. Thank you very much. Now we start all our meetings in CAF with a prayer. Every single one of the meetings. I know the first one they said, President, we don't have the culture of prayer. I said, no, well, you know, I have the privilege of growing up in a multi-religious environment, and religion plays an important role, not just in our beliefs, but also in values, in ethics, in integrity, and that usually translates into governance and respect. So I'll make a few brief remarks, and then in fact, just before I go into that, yesterday we donated $500,000. Again, it's not about the money. It's about the respect and the recognition of the important role that religion plays in the lives of all of us, all our religions. And so we made, and we did the same thing in Cameroon. So we've got a policy that whenever there's an AFCON, the Motsepe Foundation, the family foundation, makes a humble donation to the religious organizations in those countries. So we made a donation to our Christian Catholic faith as well as to our Muslim faith in Cameroon, and we did the same in Côte d'Ivoire, and it was an honor and a privilege to do the same yesterday. Of course, we are about football, and football is what we're excited about, but we also recognize that the best football in the world is in an environment where people respect each other, and economic growth and investment in infrastructure and facilities, stadiums, football pitches, schools, football, and a growing economy. And we've also said that religion unites our people across different religious, ethnic, and racial backgrounds. Okay, let's go to the football now. And what is important for me is not just to come and tell you what our assessment is, but also to hear from you what your assessment is, including your criticism, because sometimes in my upbringing, the most important thing is to listen to perceived areas of weakness, perceived areas of failure. It's an important opportunity to learn, and it contributes to all of us becoming better. And our objective is very clear objective. African football must be amongst the best in the world, the most successful. It starts on the field of play. We have to win in Africa, and we have to win at the highest level in the world. So what particularly also excites me about this AFCON is its preparation for our national teams, those that will be representing us in the World Cup. So, in life, people respect you on results. They don't come and talk about your plans, your strategies, and how beautiful it is, the football in Africa is. What are the fans saying? Because the fans will not watch African football if it is not exciting and attractive. So I'm so proud of the work that every one of the 54 member associations that are members of CAF and who represent 54 countries on the African continent, we've made good progress. But we set very high standards for ourselves, very high standards. And we take motivation from the accessible, quantifiable successes, but we're very clear that there is still significant progress to be made. There's still work to be done, and we want to be as good as the best. So I was watching the match between Nigeria. In fact, part of my plan was to watch every nation. So I'm happy that every one of the 24 nations that came for the AFCON, I had the honor and the privilege of watching every single one of them. And but it's also a learning experience for me, because to see how the referees are officiating. And again, I had a meeting with the referees before the match, before the AFCON, and I said, "No, guys, listen. We've got so much confidence in your quality, in your integrity, in your credibility, in your ethics, but the test is not what the president thinks. The test is not what CAF thinks. The test is what those millions of football lovers think. And we can give them the best technical explanation. It was not hand to ball, I don't know, it was foot or I don't know, or even, I don't want to say toe, knee to hand, it's a penalty. And I want to say to you what I said yesterday to all the 54 presidents of the 54 African countries. Under no circumstances will any single country in Africa be treated better, more preferential than any other country. It's never going to happen, not whilst I'm president. Every single one of the 54 countries in Africa are going to be treated with all the respect, all the dignity, and all the recognition they deserve. And that's what our commitment is. But of course, we've got to listen. And when people say, but why is it that the referees seem to, and the VAR operators, and I don't know, and this country called, I can't call it Azania, let me call it Afro, I don't know, Afro-Europe or Afro-Asia. It's the 54th country. So I'm very happy that, and we can't be oblivious to what the podcast and the media is saying, because I watch TV as well. So when the commentators say, but that was a red card, or why did it not go to VAR, or why was that not a penalty? Our credibility depends on what ordinary football supporters and fans in Africa and Europe, and we will consistently improve, train, and make sure that the referees, the VAR operators, and the match commissioners are world class. This has indeed been the most successful CAF, the single most successful CAF in the history of this competition. And the question is, but President, why are you saying that? No, number one, the quality of football has been world class. And it's not so important, let me say, it's more important what some of the best coaches, the best football analysts, the legends are saying about the quality of football. Remember, we will only succeed if our football is exciting and people want to pay to watch it. And I'm very excited. Mbappe came. I wasn't sure whether he was wearing Morocco, and I said, Mbappe, because your father is from Cameroon and your mother is from Algeria. Beautiful. And then Morocco played Cameroon. It complicated things a bit. But we're excited. Zizou, beautiful. Conde, Chouameni, and various other players, so proud. And to come and support the best players in Africa that we have competing against the best in the world. So the quality of football, world class. The quality of the stadiums, the infrastructure, the facilities, world class. And of course, my duty is to rotate. I want every one of the zones, the regions, there are 5 zones. I want every one of them to get an opportunity to host the top competitions in Africa. But what is non-negotiable is your football pitch must be world class. The infrastructure must, and will help you. I mean, I took away, the CHAN was supposed to take place in February in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. I said, let's wait, and we'll move it to August because we want to give them an opportunity to spend more money, but also with the next AFCON in mind next year. So I'm very proud of what they've done. So the facilities, and that's why it's appropriate on behalf of the 54 nations whose member associations are members of CAF, to really express our deep gratitude to His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, express our gratitude to the government, the people of Morocco, and of course I always feel proud of the work that my brother Fauzi is doing. I call him Fauzi, and some people say it's Fuzi, and okay, it's fine. Fauzi, perfect. And it makes me proud when ordinary people in the street say the hospitality, the warmth with which they've been received by ordinary Moroccans. It's beautiful. And then my Moroccan friend says, yeah, but President, that's part of our culture. That's part of our history. Beautiful, beautiful. I saw the flag of Morocco next, side by side with the flag of Algeria. For me, it makes me proud. I'm happy of that, because we want all our people to be together. We want all Africans to be together. I saw the president of football in the DRC and the president of football from Rwanda together, having a wonderful time. Beautiful. That's what we're all about, to bring all our people together. And where there are challenges, we will humbly use football to unite. And this unity, of course, is unity in the continent, but it's also a commitment to unity with Europe, with America, with Asia, with South America. On Monday morning at 3 o'clock, I'll be flying, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be flying to Davos for the World Economic Forum, and there's 70 heads of state, and it's part of they, and of course, we are going to talk a little bit about the World Cup in America, and there's lots of things that Gianni will be there as well. Gianni apparently arrived, and our FIFA brothers. So that's beautiful. But of course, there we'll be talking about how do we bring the world together? How do we encourage more trade, more partnership in a world that is becoming increasingly divided? So, and let me just finally, because there's, let's talk about the AFCON every 4 years. Now, let me explain to you. I hear somebody smiling, but you know, a smile sometimes can be a loud smile. Let me tell you, I'm clear in my mind. I have to be in a much better situation in this new dispensation than I was in the previous dispensation. And the numbers and the figures don't lie. And the facts don't lie. Because I can have my own interpretation, say it's wonderful, it's good, but if the facts and the numbers and the data doesn't support it, then it's incorrect. So what's going to happen? We only had one competition that really made money. I want a competition every year, every year, every year. At this stage, with the exception of the year when there's a World Cup, and we're also looking at that to even have a competition in that year. Now, the AFCON is about, it used to be 20 nations, and we increased it to 24. Every year, I'm going to have 54 nations in Africa, not 24, like in the AFCON, 54. 54. And unlike what happened in the past, I'm going to have the best African players who play in Europe. We are proud of them. The best African players who play in America, proud of them. In Asia, in South America, they're going to be part of this competition every year in Africa. Now, how much do I pay for the AFCON? I think when I became president, the first price was maybe 4 million or something. 4 million, and I immediately increased it to 5. I don't know where the 5 was going to come, because we owed $150 million at the time, and then increased it again to 7 for Cote d'Ivoire, and increased it again to 10. And I'm excited because I know some of those players, not the ones who play in Europe, the ones in Africa. If they get significant money, some of that money goes into their pockets, and that's what we want. So part of my objective is to make sure that in every sense, the African Nation League competes with AFCON. I don't want one fishing rod to try and catch fish for me in the sea. I want, the AFCON fishing rod was once every 2 years. I'm going to have a fishing rod every year. And part of what we want to do is, you've got to make the Africa Nations League at the minimum as exciting, and better still, even more exciting than the AFCON. And the judge of that is not the president of CAF, it's not CAF, it's the fans. It's you in the media. And we have to listen to you. Whether we agree or disagree is irrelevant. And sometimes what's even more important is when you criticize us. It's a learning opportunity. So we currently pay 10 million, and I shouldn't say this, so if you agree, if you promise not to write about it and keep it to yourself, I'll say it quickly. My aim is to get 10 million first prize for the Africa Nations League. Where am I going to get the money from? I'll find it. So if I've got 10 million there, and make sure that the African Nation League competes in every sense with the AFCON. But of course, the AFCON, there's a sentimental. It's like this grandmother who brought you up when your mother was working. She's got a special place in your heart, and always will have a special place in your heart. But you can't tell a grandma, go to work in a Toyota. I love Toyotas. When you can take her to work in a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz. I mean, whatever nice car. We have to improve all the time, become better, more competitive. And we have to listen to our sponsors. And of course, we've got to listen to our fans. And we also have to listen to the media. So I'm excited. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Part of my job is, when I'm not president of CAF, because every leader, there's a time to go and there's a time to leave. So part of my job is the president who takes over from me must find a foundation and the leadership where they can continue the good work that we've done together. No organization succeeds because of an individual or because of a president. It doesn't exist. We've got 80,000 employees in the mining companies where we are, either that we have formed as a family or where we are the biggest shareholder. 80,000 employees every day go to work. And we succeed not because of me, but because of all of these people. And we've got to look after them, motivate them. And there's another 33,000 in the financial services companies where we are. So in everything we do, we succeed because of the people we have the privilege to work with. And I'm very honored that I've had the privilege to work with some good people. And as I said, my job is to make sure that, I don't know, a few years down the line when I'm not president of CAF and I look at the leadership, and they should say, together we've laid a good foundation and they must continue. Because I think a lot of the successes of what we are doing, the results will be seen a few years down the line. So have I forgotten anything?
May I, President?
Just remind me quickly.
100%, President. I mean, you spoke about the results here when you took over AFCON, making $5 million, today sitting at revenues of $200 million. And for the first time, you've got ticketing revenue. I mean, when you came in from zero, today $55 million US on revenue, ticketing alone.
Well, the question is, where's all that money going? And that money has to go to where it's supposed to go. Young boys and girls, academies. We donated $10 million from the Motsepe Foundation for schools football in Africa. Get schools football going. There's about 100,000 schools that participate. We're going to have millions of young Africans playing in these competitions. So, and of course, ethics, governance, integrity. I have to make sure that the sponsors are convinced that every cent that this organization makes goes where it's supposed to go. Our member associations. And of course, and we have to stop employing people at CAF who, who are there because it's a job. They must be there because they are well paid, well appreciated, and we want the best and the smartest. And I'm always disappointed when an employee comes and says, I enjoy my job, but I was offered more money by your competition. So I'm also proud that we've significantly increased the salaries of the staff, and there's a commitment to do more. I'm going to repeat the prize money. Of course, sorry, one quick issue. Women's football, very, very important. I can say all the wonderful things. It really means nothing if on the ground there isn't quantifiable, accessible success. We've spent a lot of money on women's football. It's coming up. I'm so proud. And it'll keep growing. So I just want to conclude by saying that I want to thank the media. Have I forgotten anything?
No, President.
I haven't. President, have I forgotten anything? No. General Secretary?
President, no.
Madame Bestine? Okay. So as I said, part of this thing is to give for us an opportunity for you to ask whatever question you may want to ask. And we will see you next year in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. And let me say this. We have a duty. My duty is to Africa. It starts there. But my second duty is I can only promote Africa if in those areas where we have to work together with the world, with Europe, with America, with Asia, with South America, in those areas we have to work together. The success of football in Europe is good. I want Europe, I want America, I want Asia, I want their football in those countries to keep growing and keep succeeding. And I'm clear that in Africa, we are going to keep growing and keep succeeding. So I just want to, in conclusion, say once more, huge gratitude to the people of Morocco. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup to the people of Morocco. This is the spirit of Africa. Bring us all together. They took me to a university here in Morocco. 48 African countries have got students at that university. Beautiful, beautiful. 88 countries from outside, worldwide. So there's another 40 countries that have got students. We are part of a world where we have to work together. Our growth is the growth of all of us together. And then there's something else which might come back later. But, and of course I want to thank the government, and as I said, thank His Majesty King Mohammed VI. May God assist him, and thank the government, and thank our brother Fauzi. There's one other point that they reminded me about. It just slipped my mind. Hopefully it'll come back when we take all the questions, okay? So just one final thing. I hope we've tried to look well after the media. We're not doing you a favor when we treat you with respect and with the dignity you deserve. It's our duty. And I want to thank you for, there's 190 countries, 190. The official number is 180, but we are told that there's 10 others where they've got access in ways that they only know how, that have been watching African football. We're enormously grateful, and we're grateful for you because you've carried some of that, and it's to a large extent because of you. And thank you for being with us, and if there are ways that we can make your stay with us better, please let us know. Because we will be together next year, we'll be together during the year, and you've got a job to do, we have a job to do. We have a duty to try and help you in executing your job. It's good for us. You're not doing us we are not doing you a favor. Okay, are we ready for questions now?
Yes, President, just for the benefit of media, just to repeat those financial figures, that revenue is growing since the last AFCON by 95% of CAF. Ticketing revenue growing from 11 million from Cote d'Ivoire to 55 million US dollars. And the sponsors from 5 when the president took over to 23 sponsors that are currently sponsoring this competition. Now, President, I'll take questions from the members of the media.
So what we'll do is we'll go to the right, and some people are say to me, is the right wing? There's no right wing, right? And we'll go, we want to give everybody a chance. And I have to go to the match tonight because, as I said, I've had the privilege of seeing every one of the 24 nations. We'll go here, and then we'll go to the left. And then we'll go back again just like that. Okay.
All right, President, I'll start that side. If I can go in the front here. There we go. Yeah. In front of Satish.
And just please ask your question in every language you want to, because we will Swahili, Wolof, or whatever will translate.
It will be more simple, simply English, President. Hello, Mr. Motsepe.
Can I just ask you a favor? Just say who you are, which country you are from, because it just helps me a bit.
Sure. Hosni Zagdoudi, Tunisian Radio and Dubai Media Regional Office, North Africa.
Thank you.
And hi, Luxolo, hi. Hello to the VP as well. So, big talk about kind of most successful AFCON, commercially wise. But I think, President, you are playing the transparency card as a governance rule in the CAF, so you are showing and talking about numbers. So can we know concretely how much it costs? How much it costs to? Okay. So can we know how much it costs to organize CAN? And we are trying not to be discreet. And how much the Moroccan Kingdom invest in that? Because we are knowing a lot of numbers and not of kingdom investment. So can we know the budget, how it costs, how much, and the percentage of the Moroccan? And the last one, very short, elected since 5 years. I think you've never been in Tunisia. So are you planning like a president tour as it happens before with Mr. Ahmed, with Mr. Hayatou, and almost all the CAF presidents? I think you never been, or you've been rarely in North Africa except Morocco. And good luck, President.
Thank you so much. I wanted to come to Tunisia. I think and I will come this year. I've been to 48 countries of the 54. The others I've been to in various others. But I was advised not to go because of the problems at the time with the president of the member association. The feedback was that the family said, wait a bit. So there's a new president, and I will definitely be coming. But thanks for that question, because Tunisia has a proud football history and will be representing, the national team of Tunisia will be representing the people of Tunisia, but representing the 54 countries in Africa. How much did the AFCON cost? It cost us a lot of money.
How much exactly?
I'll give you the exact numbers because I'm getting feedback from EXCO. They're pulling these numbers together. Roughly. Where's Richard? Richard is not here. Yeah, okay. We'll communicate with him. But you see, for us in the corporate world, it's the bottom line is, what are your profits? And I've got a very good idea of that. And partly why is because there's some expenses that some of our sponsors said, we will take these expenses. And there's some expenses where we have to pay, but we've got new sponsors who are saying that, in fact, we've got current sponsors who are saying, renew my contract and I'll help you with some of the current payments. So we will release a statement and we'll be more specific with that. But I can tell you, bottom line for me is this AFCON will be profitable. And that's a key issue. Because I can spend, let me give you a bad example. I can spend $500 million. And then I only get $300 million or $400 million. I've got a problem. I can spend $100 million and get $200 million. It excites me. So I had numbers in my mind because numbers are everything. And I'll give you the exact detail. I really want to, again, the government of Morocco has spent a lot of money. I can't, we don't comment on behalf of any government. I think that those numbers you will get from the government. But I want to thank them because, I can see, I saw what was going on in Cameroon, and the first thing, a few days after I became president, they said, cancel Cameroon. It mustn't take place, they're not ready. The government makes, and then I went and they made promises, which I believe was correct. They didn't fulfill them. But I wasn't going to allow Cameroon not to take place. It wasn't going to happen. I was not going to allow Cameroon not to succeed. So I sent people, they were there all the time, and it was successful. Thank you. We'll give you, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to try and answer some of the questions as quickly as possible so that we can take in as many as possible.
Okay, you go.
Bonjour, Président. Vous m'entendez? Bonjour.
Merci, I can hear you.
Président, toutes mes salutations pour tous les membres de la CAF. Je me présente, c'est Bilal Fatoum, Hannibal TV Tunisie. Ma première question à propos de l'édition spéciale Cannes 2028. On parle d'autres pays qui sont manifestés comme l'Afrique du Sud, disons Égypte, Algérie, Maroc. Ici, c'est top pour l'organisation. On va rester ici en 2028. Merci.
You didn't follow the rule. Lutkol, it was one there. I think you like these people a lot, and then one here, and one there. But let me tell you, and I want to tell you now because it complicates my life. It complicates my life. I've had so many countries that wants to host 2028. I've had so many countries that wants to host the African Nations League. And I think one thing I must tell you quickly about that is, in 2029, we're going to have 54. It's important because 54 African nations, 54, participating in the African Nations League. All the players from overseas will be involved. They will be taking place during the FIFA window. So can you imagine Nigeria playing Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire playing Cameroon, Egypt playing Morocco, Kenya playing Tanzania. So all over. But what we are going to do is there's going to be one country that will be identified as you are the host. So even though in the FIFA window, the whole of the continent will be playing. Let me give you an example. Assuming we say Nigeria. Nigeria, you are going to host Africa Nations League 2029. You are host. So what we will do is, whereas and Nigeria is part of 16, I don't like that zone as the president of CAF because it's got the best football. All of them are excellent. But you've got Nigeria playing Ghana. You've got Cote d'Ivoire playing Cameroon. It's not good for us when it comes to the World Cup because somebody is going to exclude somebody else. And I want all of them to compete with the rest. But the point is, we now go 2029, we say Nigeria, you are the host. So what will happen is, in Nigeria, the 16 nations that are part of West Africa will all play in Nigeria. They'll host them during the FIFA window. But all the other zones, there'll be a draw there. So you might find South Africa playing Zimbabwe. The draw will decide where they play. Kenya playing Uganda. The draw will decide. Egypt playing Algeria. The draw will decide. And then the winner because that's going to take place between September, October. The winner of each of the zones will then come to Nigeria. He'll come to Nigeria to play against the winner of the West African zone. And that contest will then determine who the champions are. We've looked at what happens worldwide, and you've got to learn. You've got to see what has worked in other parts of the world, what has failed, and make sure that we implement what is the very best. So you were asking me about, has South Africa, has Tunisia? I'm going to have to do, CAF is going to have to do something that in strict compliance with the FIFA and CAF statutes and regulations. I mean, I've got heads of states who are phoning me. I don't decide. It's the CAF ExCo that decides. But what I'm clear about is the quality of your infrastructure has to be worldwide, and will help you as well succeed. So what we're going to have to do is to say, okay, Senegal, you want to host the next Africa Nations League. Ethiopia has put in a bid. Morocco has put in a bid. Angola and others. Can we allow Senegal to host it now? And then the next time we will give Angola a chance, or Zimbabwe a chance. But you've got to have the infrastructure. And then the next time, because we've already given Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda the AFCON next year, let's give Ethiopia 120 million people. I want to develop football here. And then we go to the north, we say, let's give Egypt or Algeria or Tunisia a chance. So I need to give everybody a chance. But where my life becomes complicated is when Ghana comes and says, everybody's offering 100 million, I'm going to give you 200 million. And whilst Ghana is talking about 200 million, Kenya says, I'm going to give you 300 million. So I've got to get a balance. Because I need to build infrastructure facilities throughout. There's still some countries in Africa, they don't play in their country. The national team and the football clubs don't play in their country. You cannot develop football if the fans and supporters of a nation cannot watch their national team or their clubs. So part of my focus now is to make sure that in those countries where they still play outside, this $1 million and various others, we say, now listen, that money has to go to upgrading your stadium. You've got to play in front of your supporters and your fans. I'm happy that we show football on TV all the time. So you're 100% right. We've got so many countries, and not just that. What makes it even more is, I've got 3 countries that says, I want 2028, I want 2031, I want 2035, I want all 3. And because I want all 3, I'm going to give you more money than anybody else. And you must be careful. Money is important, but life is never only about money. It's never been and can never be only about money. But I need the money for infrastructure, for young boys and girls, for stadiums, for schools, for football pitches, and for making sure that the infrastructure in those stadiums are world class. Who's here?
The lady at the back.
I think you don't like this gentleman in front. Can we start? My apologies. Can I start with you, please? My brother, can we start with you? Yeah.
Get one now.
And then Madame will come, we'll give you a chance.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Usasu Abayiwana, and I write for The Guardian and The Observer of London. Mr. President, you announced on the 20th of December that the AFCON was going to be every 4 years. I came late to the conference. I missed my way in traffic and heard that you had already announced it before I came. To be honest, as somebody who has covered African football for 3 decades, going to every nook and cranny of this continent and understanding what the African Cup of Nations means since it started in 1957, and having spoken to the community, We do not understand why you think you should do this. Mr. President, this biennial competition is integral to the culture of Africa. It is something that has become a staple diet to us. In addition to that, even if you are talking of the financial aspect, that you are going to increase funds, we don't understand that either, because if you reduce a competition's frequency by 50%, how are you increasing revenue when you are reducing the frequency of the competition? We don't understand this. You say you will bring an African Nations League to bring in income, but that is a tournament that you do not know whether it will work or whether it will not work. You tried the African Super League, and you told us in Arusha that you will make $200 million per year for 10 years, which is $2 billion. That's what you said during your meeting, 200 million. It will be shared amongst all the national associations. That's what you said. It's on record, it's what you said. But after the first Africa Super League, it's gone. And the lady from Kaiser Chiefs, Jessica Motaung, made a statement to say, look, it's not feasible. This tournament is not feasible. And many of us said this well before you started it. So what gives you the confidence that what you are trying to introduce now is not going to end the same way? In addition to this, the African Cup of Nations every 2 years ensures facilities are built. It ensures competition is regular. These are already staples that have been established over 69 years. And these are things which you feel should now be discarded to go the European way and every other way. Mr. President, from my conversations also with many in your community, FA presidents, even some members of your EXCO who may not tell you directly, they don't support this decision. They don't support it. And with good reason, because we do not see how this serves Africa, Mr. President.
Thank you. It's a very, very, very... Let's clap hands for that. Please clap hands for that. No, a bit louder, please. Very, very, very good question. Very good question. It has taken us, and I want to thank you for that question, it has taken us 4 years to be where we are. And, you know, they say we took a unanimous decision in CAF, 100%. And I'll tell you why, because if you think the problem of where we are now, those questions you were asking were issues that are just relevant now, those were problems that I had to ask myself. I had to be the one who had to be convinced over the last 3 years. Now, let me start with the Super League. The Super League is something that we started a pilot with, the club football, and it went very well. We had proposals which were part of the plan. These numbers you were talking about, the 200 million was part of revenue. And why we didn't proceed as quickly as we did is because the partners that were giving us money, they were not giving us the sort of deals that we thought we would be happy with. So, and that's why we then took the $1 billion. Okay, now you talk about 200 million, I'm talking about $1 billion for the national teams. And we took the focus there because we knew that that would put pressure on the clubs. But let me tell you something else that's more important. We have significantly increased the African Champions League, the club football, and made that significantly better. We've increased the Confederations Cup prize money, competition. We spent $13 million, which has never happened, gave money to each one of those clubs. And so we are satisfied. You know, I've got people in CAF who say, there's some journalists who, they in the questions they ask, it's almost like they're talking for a constituency. And they're trying to embarrass and disgrace, and they've got loyalties. Now, I don't care. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what you ask, and my duty is to respond to those. So it's not the president of CAF. It is the 54 nations in Africa who know football, I would say with all humility, much better than those who are not in the day-to-day involvement in the challenges about the infrastructure, the stadiums, and the money that we need to pay for the players. So we are absolutely satisfied. Where you are wrong, absolutely wrong. And your facts are incorrect. No, just keep quiet now. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. I asked you a question and I kept quiet, so don't interrupt me. So what I'm saying to you is, where you are absolutely wrong is the revenue of the AFCON is significantly less than the revenue that we have implemented for the African Nations League, and we will be launching it in the next few years. So we are absolutely convinced that we are not going to adhere to a competition simply because it has been there for the past few years. And where you are also talking absolute nonsense is to say to me that we will run Africa for Europe. Absolute rubbish. It's nonsense. You're insulting us. We run Africa for Africa. And our job is to listen to people like yourself and various others. And whether you're objective or not, it's irrelevant. But when you've got 54 nations in Africa saying that the African Nations League is world class, it doesn't matter how you look at African football. When I became president, member associations were getting 200,000. In fact, it was more like 150. We've increased it to 200. They're getting 400,000 now. And we have to take decisions that, from a populist perspective, may be regarded as being unpopular, but from a beneficial perspective, what does this mean for African football? Every single one of our 54 presidents say this is the best thing that has happened. And I'm confident over the years, the results of what we are doing will speak for themselves. Any other questions?
I think let's go that side. Just give it to...
My apologies. Give the
lady at the back. Sorry, I forgot about you now.
Merci. Bonjour, je suis Priscille Messéné, journaliste camerounaise. Président, ne soyez pas offusqué du fait qu'on vous parle de décaler la date de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations. Je vais vous dire sans d'autres thèmes. La Coupe d'Afrique des Nations est d'abord culturelle, parce qu'au-delà du côté sportif, c'est d'abord des cultures qui se rencontrent en un mois. Et quand on a investigué un peu sur la Ligue des Nations, c'est un tournoi qui va se disputer par zone. Et ce qui fera que les journalistes ne pourront plus se déplacer, il y aura beaucoup de déplacements. Il y a tout cela qu'il faut mettre, il faut prendre en compte. Donc, on est obligé de s'interroger. Et depuis votre arrivée, on ne veut pas que vous partiez. Motsepe, le président Motsepe a apporté beaucoup d'argent. On voit des avancées, c'est vrai, mais ce n'est pas que financier. C'est culturel, c'est sportif. C'est aussi le développement du football local. Chaque fois que vous prenez la parole, au Ghana par exemple, vous avez annoncé le financement du football féminin à près d'1 milliard de francs CFA, donc plus d'1 million d'euros. On n'a pas vu la finalité, il n'y a pas de communication là-dessus. On a l'impression que les journalistes sont informés, mais non par la suite. Alors, je reviens sur mes propos. On vous félicite pour le financement, c'est bien. Maintenant, nous sommes obligés de nous interroger. Première interrogation, est-ce que vous n'êtes pas en train de dénaturer le football africain, on peut bien organiser une Ligue des Nations sans délocaliser la date de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, parce que c'est autre chose, c'est un autre esprit. La deuxième question, je reviens sur la gestion de la Confédération africaine de football. Vous nous donnez l'impression que la FIFA a un impact important sur la CAF aujourd'hui avec votre arrivée, parce qu'on comprend très bien que vous êtes panafricaniste, ça se voit dans vos réalisations, la portée que vous avez. On a délocalisé la date de la CAN. Nous sommes en hiver, donc on aurait pu la jouer en juin à cause de la Coupe du Monde des clubs. Aujourd'hui, il y a une interrogation aussi sur la gestion de votre commerce et votre bras droit qui est le secrétaire général. Il doit aller à la retraite, il a 58 ans aujourd'hui, on n'a pas d'informations, il y a beaucoup de critiques qui s'élèvent là-dessus. Est-ce que le président Motsepe, pour faire court, sait les intérêts de l'Afrique ou reçoit une pression énorme de la Fédération internationale de football association qui est la FIFA? Merci.
Bravo. Well, you know, these meetings should take place more often. And they should take place more often because I think we have a duty as well to not just keep you informed, but also what you are asking. It's not just what you are saying, it's what many people on the ground are saying. But let me tell you something. We have to free ourselves as Africans. We have to have more confidence in ourselves and not believe that whenever we take a decision, it's what FIFA says this or Europe says this. It shows lack of confidence in ourselves. Many times FIFA comes with recommendations. We say, we listen to what we say, we disagree, it's not going to happen. Just like we go at times with recommendations to FIFA, they say, we listen to what you say, we disagree, it's not going to happen. We go to Europe, we make recommendations, they say, we listen, we disagree, they make recommendations to us, and we say, we listen to what you say, we disagree. At the end of the day, we have a duty to you. And we have a duty to the ordinary African football supporter and lover. We can think we are doing all the right things. But if our people, I don't know, do you need a translator? You understand what I'm saying, Madame? Oh, thank you. Yeah. So you know, we can be convinced we are doing all the right things. But it's more important that ordinary football people on the continent are convinced that we are doing the right things. And you know, the decisions we have taken many, many years. Let me give you a bad example. My sole responsibility, primary responsibility, is African football. Now, you've got an agreement between CAF and FIFA, which is not CAF, the whole world. In the year of the World Cup, that period, June, July, you can't have a competition. So what happens then? Because this year, June, July, has been put aside 20, 30, 40 years for the World Cup. So we have to have a competition, this current AFCON. It has to take place this year at all costs. The only time you have is December, January. Now comes a problem. The European clubs say, we are not going to release our players because we spend billions of dollars of these players, we're not going to release them. And we say, we don't care what you say. You're going to release them. So, but we need allies. We then need to go and engage with other confederations because I think they've got a, you know, the family owns a football club. So their concerns, I understand them. But my duty, my number one duty is Africa. So I just want to conclude that for us, it's not AFCON every 4 years. The way it's been structured, it's AFCON every year. No. It's AFCON every year. You can say no until tomorrow. It doesn't change it. It's AFCON every year. We have, in this current competition, Morocco, we've got about 28 days that has been allocated. The African Nations League, the window period is going to be 22 for that period. And the difference is we are convinced, contrary to what you think, to have Nigeria play Ghana in either Accra or Lagos, it's good, because it builds the local rivalries. To have Cameroon playing Côte d'Ivoire there, rather than playing them in Morocco. Look, when you've got Cameroon playing Côte d'Ivoire here, you don't have the same attendance of supporters. When you've got them playing at home, the stadiums are full. The sponsors are keen. It doesn't only help the national team, it helps the club football. So I agree with you. As I said to you, money is important, but nothing in life is only about money. It's about the quality of football. It's about what you said, the cultural significance. And we are absolutely satisfied. I'm convinced that we've looked at this over the last 3 years. We are convinced, and you will take time over time to realize that what we have done is definitely in the interest of African football. Okay, next question.
Can I just go to the back there, Mamadou, and then I'll come to the lady there. I promise I will come to you. Okay. Sorry, Mamadou, and then the lady. No, but please, do you mind one person at a time? I mean, let's all have professional courtesy. No, we will go through this press conference, I promise you.
She's my favorite, the lady who asked the question. So
yes.
Okay, let's go, Mamadou.
Okay, my name is Guy Mamadou. Freelancer on Soccer Africa Super Sport. Now, President, my question is, I've been in Morocco here for the African Nation Cup. Obviously, I attended the one in my country, and honestly speaking, Morocco have raised the bar so high, much higher than my own country, Côte d'Ivoire. I've traveled to all the venues, fantastic infrastructure, road and everything. Now the next one is going to 3 East African countries where I already have been. No road within the country. Some of my colleagues from East Africa told me from one country to another one, it will take you 2 days to drive. Then my biggest worry, and many are worried, are we not going to lower the standard by going to East Africa, or what is the solution forward? Because we've seen, we are in Morocco, the AFCON was supposed to be in Guinea Republic. Because they were not ready, it was moved to Morocco. And this 24-nation AFCON, I think in Africa, maybe 4 or 5 countries have the proper infrastructure to host it. Is there any possibility that it will be taken away from those 3 countries or postponed again? That's my question.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's a good question. And I think part of being a leader is to deal with difficult, unpleasant decisions which we have to take, which are right and which are good for football. But it's more important that we've got to explain them. We've got to take people to come with us, and we are convinced over time they will indeed see that the decisions we are taking. Now, I have a duty to develop football all over Africa. I can't have competitions only in those 4 countries where you've got the infrastructure. You've got to have you've got to create opportunities for the other countries to build infrastructure at the level, World Cup level that we want them, and develop football in those countries as well. I'm confident that the AFCON in Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda will be enormously successful. Will there be challenges? It's like the World Cup Qatar. We are going now to Canada, America, and Mexico. There are going to be challenges. But and that's why I was insisting that the CHAN takes place in those countries, even though they were not ready in February, because I was convinced that it would help us enormously to make sure that we've got a successful AFCON next year in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. But we are not going to take that competition away from those countries because I'm confident it's going to be successful. Next question.
I'll go to the lady there and then afterwards I come to Omar. This way?
Oui.
Yes, madame. Yes.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Sorry. Bonjour, madame.
Oui, moi c'est Lala Rassoul, journaliste Sénégal 7, journaliste sénégalaise. Alors ma question est, demain on assiste à une grande finale entre le Sénégal et le Maroc. Les billets restent introuvables et inaccessibles aux Sénégalais. J'aimerais savoir le pourquoi. Et votre réponse par rapport aux problèmes d'organisation qu'on a évoqués lors des matchs passés. Merci.
Yeah. A very good question, but there isn't a shortage of tickets. The tickets were bought in the first day, all of them gone. And we're trying to make sure that we give opportunities to as many, I've had heads of state saying that, they've got their families coming and they can't get tickets. So it's a bit of a challenge because I think in the first day, all of the tickets where Morocco were involved, and Algeria, and I think Egypt and others just sold out. And so we'll work on that. And but as I said, the bottom line is the tickets are. I think they're. That's why we built fan zones, and some people will watch the game on TV. I think there's a question there.
Omar at the back. Yeah, just trying to.
Omar Mutasa, Radio Deutsche Welle. I'm from Uganda. First of all, I thank Mr. Mamadou for his issues of saying that the Africa Cup of Nations should be removed from Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, which I think it was not a good idea anyway.
Sorry, what was not a good idea? To give it to them in the first place, or what?
Well, what I'm saying, it was not a good idea for us as Ugandans. For him, it might be a good idea of saying that Africa Cup should be removed from Uganda and Tanzania and Kenya, though you are trying to lift up the standard of football in all the continent of Africa. I come to my question now, Mr. President. Out there on the streets, there have been a lot of talk on the issue of refereeing. Yeah. I don't know if maybe you spoke about it, so I put it there. The second question is about, specifically, you spoke about 4 countries when you were explaining here. You spoke about Algeria and Morocco. And you said you want to see Algeria and Morocco having a good football. You want to see, and you spoke about DRC and Rwanda. What specifically have you seen in those countries you mentioned? Is it politically, financially, business-wise? Can you please clear the air on those 4 countries? Thank you.
Yeah, no, very good question. I mean, what I was saying is that if you look at the media, there's been challenges between Rwanda and the DRC, and it's wonderful to see their presidents together, the football presidents, working together, because at the end of the day, we want an Africa where there are good ties and good relationships amongst all of us. And they talk about the Super Eagles, for example. Many of the presidents say that when the Super Eagles play, there isn't North Nigeria or South Nigeria, there isn't members of Nigeria belong to different religious organizations or to religious ethnic backgrounds. All of us are Super Eagles, support the Super Eagles. So we are clear. Football has this broad obligation. Of course, it's about what happens on the field, but also I feel proud when I see fans from Algeria and Morocco being together, celebrating football, when I see the leadership of football from the DRC and Rwanda together, because we're all Africans and we need a continent where we've got good ties and good relationships and growth for our communities and our people. But I agree with you that I think Uganda, Mamadou takes very simple views on everything, on many things. And let me give you an example. I ask in CAF, we've got futsal. I open a bid for 6 months and nobody submits an offer because they lose money. I open a bid for the Women's Champions League. Nobody puts a bid because they lose money. And what happens? Morocco comes and says, I'll help you. And sometimes another country comes and says, I will help you. And what that leads to is that we've got lots of competitions where it's often the same countries. And partly it's because the others don't, the government say, but we don't have the money, we don't have the resources. And we have to move on and develop African football and encourage those others as well to build their infrastructure, because we'll get there when there'll be more and more countries bidding.
President, I'm just going to rush journalists because we've got official trainings that are about to start very soon. So I'll just ask everyone just as one short question, because in 7 minutes, you all know we have got to leave for official trainings, and then the third and fourth.
Listen, let me just say, for those of you who may not, who are here and think that you've got a question and we haven't answered, there are people who are here. They will answer whatever questions you may have. And as I said, we have ongoing explanations to do because there's an element of ignorance out there about the benefits of having an AFCON every 4 years and how African football is going to be enormously beneficial, better with the new competitions. It's our job, not yours, to keep engaging, to keep explaining. So, everybody will stay behind and address whatever questions you want. But we'll spend as much time as possible to give.
I'll just go this way, that way. And then I promise you, with one question, very brief, because we have to go very soon, and also you guys need to go to the official trainings now, which are about to start.
Of course.
I understand. That's what I just said.
Yeah, you're correct. I have to go to Casablanca as well.
That's what I just said.
But we have a duty to listen. So let's give as much an opportunity for those who've got questions as possible. Proceed.
Mr. President, I'll keep it brief. I'm Matt Dennis from the United Kingdom. I've got a quick question about disability and accessibility in AFCON and their policy on that. I've seen very few people requiring or in wheelchairs or with disabilities attend the games. And there have been some facilities, but how are AFCON looking at carrying this, or CAF looking at carrying this forward, and how important is it in their development of football and facilities across Africa?
Excellent question. And we have an ongoing duty. There's facilities and infrastructure that we've provided because it's an obligation we have. It's also a commitment we have, and we will continue increasing the infrastructure and facilities for our disabled supporters. It's very, very important. Thanks for that question. Yeah.
Good afternoon, President, CAF President Patrice. My name is Silva Kido, working with the SPM Sports from Nairobi, Kenya. First, congratulations on your excellent work you're doing to grow the African football. Second, now, can you update us in regards to Pamoja dates that is coming up next year? As well, are you satisfied with the preparation from both from the three nations? Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, we were talking with the leadership from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda earlier on, and I will personally be visiting those countries. I think we're sending a team from CAF, because now, as of tomorrow, the focus is almost exclusively, if not primarily, on those. Because where's Mamadou? Oh, he's here. Yeah. So the focus is on those countries, and we will do the heavy lifting. I mean, we are not going to take easy decisions just because it's convenient. Sometimes we have to do the difficult, unpopular, and to have it in those three countries represents challenges, but in terms of our long-term investment in the growth of football in East Africa, the benefits are enormous. So there's a team going from CAF tomorrow, on Monday, and tomorrow we'll be handing over the flag to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. And as I said, I'll be visiting those countries myself, I think sometime in April, to make sure that there's an emergency focus. You've got to be careful. If in Africa there are problems and failures, we sometimes magnify those problems and failures. If the same problems or failures happen in other parts of the world, it's not as magnified as we do. So we've got to be more optimistic and more positive, but also recognize our challenges and our failures as well. But keep building, because this is an investment for the future. There's a lady there.
From there?
Yeah.
نعم، مساء الخير. فدوى المرابطي مراسلة قناة الغد العربي. تحدثتم في كلمتكم على أن هذه النسخة هي الأفضل أو الأنجح من نوعها على الإطلاق. تحدثتم أيضا عن التحكيم، وهي النقطة التي أفاضت الكأس. تابعنا كم الاتهامات وكم الانتقادات للتحكيم التي وصلت حتى التشكيك والاتهام بالكولسة وحضور نظرية المؤامرة في الوقت الذي غابت فيه الروح الرياضية. هناك من اشتكى من الإقامة، هناك من اشتكى من التنقل وغيرها من الأمور. بماذا تردون ككونفدرالية مسؤولة على تنظيم هذا الحدث على هذه الاتهامات المباشرة؟
Thank you very much for that question, because I spoke about it mainly because we've had lots of comments and of course there's also being engagements within CAF with the leadership of the committee to get feedback, because we have to make sure that the quality of refereeing is respected, because fans and spectators view the decisions that have been taken as being proper and ethical. And you spoke about transport and logistics. You know, the feedback I've received, and there'll always be room for improvement. I mean, there's nothing where you'll get 100%. But the feedback I've received from the football players, their presidents, and lots of the fans is that in terms of infrastructure, transport, hotels, logistics, this has been the very best. Were there areas, are there likely to have been areas of weaknesses or failures? I have no doubt, like in every other organization, there'll be those areas where we can improve and do better. Where do we go?
We go to Satish and then you, Gary. Satish, very brief.
Okay. Well, it will be as brief as I can make it, which is not usual. But the first thing is a couple of suggestions. We seem to have problems in getting time for everybody to have their say and ask their questions. So what I'm going to suggest is to answer this, we set up a committee that basically allows online press conferences with the president every month, and you can ask or suggest what your questions are through to this committee and what you want to talk about, and then it'll give time for the president to actually consider it and answer it, and then you can actually time these events a little bit more accurately. Secondly, in your speech, you mentioned a number of people you wanted to be beneficiaries, such as the young in particular, but I noticed you didn't mention the elderly, so I'm going back to my usual, which is Mr. Taha Ismail and Mohamed Maouche, among others. We really must do something about these people before it is too late. Part of the reason I did not bring those shirts that I promised I was going to is I did actually mention that it was dependent on Royal Air Morocco. Well, they still have my luggage over 4 weeks later, and I don't think I'm getting it back while I'm in this country, to be honest with you. But my question, which is what I'm coming to now, is due to my contacts in Europe, I have received certain worrying information. Last week, there was a press conference, or at least a meeting, with the sporting director of PSV Eindhoven, and he was basically saying he wants FIFA to force the Africa Cup of Nations to take place in the summer. Now, this is simply not going to work. It will be okay for countries like Morocco, Egypt, etc., in the north of Africa, but there are very, very important climatological reasons why you cannot possibly hold the Africa Cup of Nations in the Northern Hemisphere summer in certain countries. So it's essentially saying you cannot have the Africa Cup of Nations in these countries, which is nigh on an attempt to kill off the Africa Cup of Nations, in my opinion, and it really needs your good office and people within African football to say, we're not having this. if we have to have this, the Africa Cup of Nations in the winter, that is when it's going to happen, because that is what the need of African football, and your own, because you don't want your own footballers getting into serious health problems because of it. So that was the major question. And also, I don't know if you're aware of it, but that particular person, Marcel Brands, wants compensation for the players that they lose, and he wants FIFA to act upon it. Now, do you see this as some kind of consequence of the way European football has been trying to dominate?
You see, we're not politicians, eh? And but we have to teach our people. We have to teach our people as much as they have to teach us that in the interest of the continent, there are times when there will be difficult discussions, because we don't control world football, and we need, world football is about 5-6 continents. And there are times when you have to make concessions. I mean, like what the lady said and the gentleman here. You say, what is his name? Osasu. Yeah. I mean, you come and talk about idealistic, theoretical, populist expectations of what African football should be like. Our job is to do what's in the best interest of African football. And sometimes we have to take unpopular decisions. And decisions that, like what was said here, we want the AFCON every 2 years, but we are saying to you, you're having something better. No. We want the AFCON every 2 years. Now, we have to listen, but we've got to move on. And we've got to make sure that we educate and expose so that our people can understand that the decisions we've taken are definitely, they are not populist, they are not sentimental in the sense that, but we've had the AFCON every 2 years. You're going to have a better competition every year, not every 2 years. But our duty is we've got to explain, because at the end of the day, we're accountable. Our duty is to these ordinary hundreds of millions of football fans. And we've just got to keep explaining. And we know that 2, 3, 4 years from now, there'll be a recognition that, wow, this is indeed. But people have to experience it. You spoke about the elderly. Brilliant question. We have a duty to the elderly, and to make sure that the jerseys you spoke about, I think if there's anything we can do, Veron, to help, because there's lots of, I'm told Boy had so much gold when he arrived, and they said to him, can you tell us where there's jewelry, beautiful jewelry? And I was called, President, you've got to intervene because there's challenges at the airport. What are they? Boy has got so much beautiful jewelry, and just like in every country, just has to declare them. But it was resolved, and everything went well. And we should not, I think where we as CAF can do better is, and Mamadou, you guys must help. Let me explain to you. Let's stop talking nonsense. I know journalists who have got preconceived views, and their objective is to embarrass and disgrace. But we have to listen to them. And we know journalists whose objective is, and we've got all of them, we hear the questions they ask. But we have a duty to talk to them. This is what, you don't just respond to the ones that ask you the nice questions. Sometimes you've got to, with a smile, deal with questions which are totally illogical, but you've got to answer. But what I was saying, Mamadou, is we have to, there has to be this, you made a very good point. I think CAF is not engaging with the media as often as it should. And it cannot be, it should not be, that there's an engagement where the president comes. It's wrong. There should be an engagement on an ongoing basis. So I think that's an excellent point you raised. And I think we'll get Lux and Veron and Mamadou and some of you guys to engage all the time. And part of that, as I said, is not just, so sometimes it's more important for us to listen Not sometimes. All the time it's more important to listen. And what is even more important is a lot of the misrepresentations and the misconceptions and the misunderstandings and the misinformation that goes around. And we've got to deal with that.
We need an hour and a half to get to Casablanca, so we really have to almost go
Mr.
now.
President,
Gary?
Yes, good day to you, and I'm right here, Mr. President.
Where's the gentleman?
Introduce yourself, Gary.
If you can stand up, sorry, because I'm looking left, right,
Gary L. Smith from the Sporty Group.
Based where?
Sporty Group, I'm based in Accra.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So.
Where's Kurt, you know him?
Yeah. That's my guy. Yeah, so it's about the image of African football based on something that the Senegalese coach just spoke about. He sat in that chair and he complained, after congratulating Morocco on an outstanding, that was his words, hosting of the AFCON. And he decried what he said was very specific things leading up to the final that have the propensity to damage the image of African football and undo all the good work, because people have recency bias. They forget all the good things that have happened in the last 3 weeks, and then they pick what happened on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they amplify. Specifically about what happened yesterday, I'm sure you might have heard with the Senegalese team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant question.
Yeah. So he was not happy about that.
Yeah.
And we still, as far as I know, as at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. today, don't know where Senegal are training. On the official communique, it was to be confirmed. Some of us have covered everything. Euros, Copa America, and we have people from around the world here, I would say, who are here to embarrass us.
Yeah.
They want the bad news. They don't want us to get our act right. So, Mr. President, it's not right that 24 hours to the game, we have TBC for the training session for a finalist in an AFCON, and they are coming on the train. Mr. President, please.
Excellent question. Thank you. Very, very good question. And the first thing when I was told about that was get the president of the Senegalese Football Federation immediately informed, engaged, because we have a duty to make sure that the Senegalese football team gets all the support and all the encouragement that they require. As much as I said from a CAF perspective, we've got the same duty to the national team of Morocco. But I got feedback that's significantly more encouraging and more. But thanks for raising that, and thank you, Mo. We've got to move away from this inferiority complex. You raised a brilliant question, where FIFA controls Africa. What do you mean? You mean the Africans haven't got the capacity to say, in fact, no, I know you didn't say that. Or the CAF I know you didn't say it. Or the AFCON every year is because of Europe. Absolute nonsense, rubbish. It's what saddens me is the Europeans have got more respect for us than some of our own journalists do. And that's fine. The FIFA people have got so much more respect for us than some of our own journalists. But that's democracy and freedom of the press. But stop this inferiority complex. Stop the inferiority complex that Africans cannot say to anybody, what you're suggesting is not going to happen, and we are going to insist that something else happens. And in the world we operate in, they have to compromise as much as we have to compromise at times to accommodate the interests of football. So that's a brilliant question you raised, that they'll be focused on the Senegalese issue. And you're correct. And we have to deal with that because, they say good news doesn't sell newspapers. I don't know whether people still sell newspapers, but isn't exciting. It's the bad news that's exciting. The controversy, the weaknesses, the failures. Just like what was raised early on to say, but, look at all of these failures. And we have to listen. But we should not get blinded by false accusations. unfounded. We should focus on success. Football development in Africa, boys and girls, youth, resources, financial, world-class football. And I hope that this Senegalese matter, there'll be an announcement that you see, he's from Accra. Eh? He's talking on behalf of Senegal. He is the president of football in Ghana. So this is how it's supposed to be, that, it's about the continent.
Mr. President, we really are running out of time.
Yeah,
but maybe take one last question, because you've got another thing happening next door.
Yeah.
No, we will tell you now. No. Yeah. We find out getting that information now. And
very good question. What we've done is there's because I was told this literally not earlier during the day, and the first thing was get the Senegalese leaders, and also because I know as well the president of football here, Fawzi. A lot of time was spent yesterday by Fawzi and the president of Senegal, Fall. Yeah, they pronounce his name as Fall. I say Fall. It's F-A-L-L. Yeah, but he's not falling. It's Fall. Okay, so Fall and president of Senegal and Fawzi spent wonderful time yesterday. But this happened today, is that right? Yeah. So I'm confident they will find a solution.
I'm told that the Senegalese training will be at our next Olympic, just next door here. Yeah. So
you can.
My colleagues from team services are sending that now as we speak. So you will get that information. I really want to appeal to all of you. I know you want to ask questions.
Let's give. I want those who want to ask embarrassing questions. Let's allow them. It's the embarrassing questions.
Let's go to this gentleman, President. We really are running out of time, so we'll go to him. Because we've got an event which we are running late, 30 minutes next door, and then we have to go to Casablanca.
But we haven't allowed the North African and West African, and Southern African. We haven't given them. Thank God there was a question on East Africa. I want to give all of the zones an opportunity.
Mr. President, my name is Eric. I'm from Kenya. I want to ask a question.
So you agree with Mamadou that we should take it away?
No, I don't. I want to ask my question concerning...
Listen, it's never going to happen. We're going to make a success of East Africa. It's going to be enormously successful. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask my question concerning the World Cup. Recently, we've seen the United States say that some countries have been restricted from accessing visa, and we've got up to 9 countries going to the World Cup. What is CAF doing to ensure deserving fans get a chance to go to the World Cup?
I think you asked the same question when we were in Kenya.
No, I was not there.
Oh, yeah, but somebody asked identical when I was with the president of FIFA. And I can assure you that I have a duty, FIFA have the duty. There's a huge amount of cooperation from the American government to make sure that as many of our people as possible who want to go and watch the World Cup. And of course, every country has got its own sovereign requirements as to who can come in and who cannot come in. But I'm confident that there's a huge amount of support by the American government to make sure that to make sure that the FIFA World Cup
the second last question
is very successful, allowing as many of our people from the continent who want to go to attend. Yeah.
Okay. We go this way, and then we'll probably just a minute, and then we'll end at the back there. There'll be the last question. I really am sorry, guys. I really am sorry. Yeah.
Ahmed Adela, Radio Mosaic FM Tunisie. Not an embarrassing question.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
No, I like them. The embarrassing ones.
No.
Because it educates us. Please continue.
C'est une question pour notre profit, pour la Tunisie en fait. J'étais présent lors de la CAN 2000, lors de la CAN à la Côte d'Ivoire. Et vous m'avez promis personnellement que vous serez en Tunisie. Là, vous venez d'expliquer que vous serez en Tunisie en 2026. Une toute petite question. Le CHAN, la CAN, toutes ces compétitions africaines, ça aide énormément à développer l'infrastructure. Nous, en Tunisie, on a un seul stade homologué, CAF, et vous avez promis les Tunisiens de faire visite en Tunisie et de développer l'infrastructure. Où sommes-nous sur ce point-là? Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, thank you. Very good question. The reason why I haven't gone to Tunisia, I love Tunisia. there was a designer called Azadine Alaya who's lived for many years in Paris. My wife loved him enormously, and from Tunisia, enormous talent, enormous. But she said, you dare not go to Tunisia without me. You have to come, I have to go with you. But the information I received was because the president was arrested. And the family said, please don't come, you're making our life difficult with all of the statements you make, and don't come. So I will, and I want to combine that with Libya, because those are the two. Well, I'm just telling you, I have a duty to football in Tunisia, enormous duty. So I have to be guided by them. But there's a new leadership now, and we need football in Tunisia. It's a proud country with a proud football history. We need them to succeed and grow. So we will check again the General Secretary. Yeah, because, as I said, I've been to 48 countries. Tunisia is one of those 6, and the others are where there's been a military takeover, and I still have a duty to the football in those countries. But the advice for me is just hold on a bit, don't go there, because for all sorts of reasons. Anyway.
Okay, I have the mic. Thank you, Mr. President, for answering our questions.
Just tell them, where are you from?
My name is Ivan Ango. I work for Biko TV in Cameroon and Radio Sport Info in Cameroon too. So my first question will be in English. I want to know, is there any way of organizing an intellectual AFCON? Let me do Europe.
So it's an
intellectual AFCON.
Intellectual?
Yes.
You mean the brain?
Yes. Why? Because football has become a very scientific game today. So I think we need, for France and for media, we need a very modern game through Africa that can be a Pan-African game with highly scientific analytics too, that can gather all the countries in Africa in order to develop our football sense, because we see it in Europe today, everything has become tactical and we need to understand football more. Yeah. So that's the idea I was thinking about. And one other thing is, if the African Nation Cup were done every 4 years, does that mean that the CHAN, the under-17 AFCON, the under-20 AFCON will have more facilities, and will you and your bureau put more money on that? Does that mean that the money we will gain from the 4 years, every 4 years, we will inject it in the other competitions?
Brilliant, brilliant. You see, the CHAN is a spectacular money loser. You know, the CHAN, not the Khan, the CHAN. And the first thing I was asked when I became president was, kill the Khan, stop it. And I wasn't going to do that, because some of the member associations who do not have the resources and skills, you know, almost 20 of them said, please keep it in. And that's why we had to allocate resources. And that's why the CHAN we had in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda was enormously successful. But I can tell you now, with this African Nations League, it will take the place of, our competitions are going to be reviewed, and I can tell you now, there will not be a CHAN. There will be no need for a CHAN. Because you've got to have quality competitions. You shouldn't have too few, you shouldn't have too many. But it's going to be world class. And that's why I was saying, for the last 2 to 3 years, we've looked at this, and we've also looked at the FIFA calendar. But the FIFA calendar is something that nobody, not even Europe, you know, the perception that Europe dictates the FIFA calendar, it's a lot of nonsense. It's nonsense. I know, because I'm in I'm vice president of FIFA and I'm in the FIFA Council. Europe doesn't dictate. Europe competes to host competitions like everybody else, doesn't succeed at times. But Europe is our partner. America is our partner. You know, Asia is our partner. We want them to succeed. You know, we also have to stop the nonsense of trying to say, you know, people are enemies or people are people who've, you know, we've got problems with. You know, I've succeeded in life because even my greatest enemies at times I've managed to turn them around. So Europe is not, Europe or North America or South America, they're not our enemies. There are times when we disagree and there are times when we work together for their success and for our success. So I'm clear in my mind. We're going to have the best mutually beneficial relationship with North America, with South America, with Europe, with Asia, with India, with China, with the rest of the world. Okay, let's just, this is extra time, né? Two questions in extra time, maybe.
Okay, maybe let's go to Mauritania and then afterwards we come to you. We haven't given anyone from Mauritania a chance to speak.
And they are doing good work in
Bonjour, Président. Merci pour le travail de fond que vous faites au football africain. On n'était pas dans le train. Président, je suis Lassana Camara, journaliste mauritanien. J'ai vu en France. Je m'intéresse à tous les footballeurs qui ont des origines africaines en Europe. Je fais tous les championnats d'Europe. Ma question, merci d'abord pour ce que vous faites pour le football africain. Mais Président, les questions que Mamadou a posées et les autres journalistes, j'ai l'impression que vous vous fâchez. Non, ils ne sont pas contre vous. Le problème, c'est qu'il y a un problème de communication. Le fait d'amener la Coupe d'Afrique de 2 ans à 4 ans, vous l'avez dit simplement en conférence de presse. Ce genre de décision historique, culturelle, vous devez travailler ça en amont, envoyer des courriers ou appeler la presse pour avoir plus de temps d'explication. On a un problème d'explication. Il n'y a pas de communication entre la CAF et les journalistes. On ne viendrait pas tous les 2 ans déverser tout ce que vous allez dire. On ne connaît pas votre programme. Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire dans 2 ans, dans 3 ans? Parce que cette Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, la Ligue des Nations de 54 pays, personne ne comprend. Si quelqu'un dans la salle dit qu'il a compris quelque chose, c'est qu'on l'a mal expliqué comme au Cameroun. Donc, Président, il faut prendre du temps d'expliquer aux journalistes ce que vous voulez. Comment, parce que votre parcours personnel de l'Afrique du Sud jusqu'à construire des entreprises, vous avez dit que vous avez 80 000 personnes que vous travaillez pour vous. Ça ne tombe pas du ciel. C'est un process, c'est une manière de faire, c'est une manière de dire, c'est une manière de se comporter. C'est à ça seulement que vous devrez expliquer aux Africains votre projet, votre manière de faire. C'est pour cela que quand on n'a pas ces informations-là, on a des briques d'informations, des briques et des brocs. Et nous, maintenant, il faut qu'on dise que ça vient de là, ça vient de là. C'est juste une question de communication.
Thank you. That's excellent observation. Merci beaucoup. 100% right. Mamadou is an old friend. I can throw him in the sea and then take him out of the sea. I was angry with Mamadou because of wanting to take the AFCON away from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. That makes me angry. But he's my brother. And let me, on a very serious note, you've raised a few very important questions. We did not do as good a job as CAF in preparing the ground on this AFCON every 4 years. And I'll tell you why, because we've been sitting on this thing for the last 3 years. But we understand, but that's not good enough. We have to explain to you, and so that you don't only hear, because we are clear in our mind. You can't have 54 African presidents saying, this is the best thing that has ever happened. It's because they understand that you're going to have an AFCON. You see, that's why this paranoia, AFCON every 4 years. Get it out of your head. You're going to have an AFCON every year. Every year. I even said to you, part of what we are doing is, because we have to make this African Nation League exciting. You can't fool people. You know, I used to stand in the family business when I was 6 years, 7 years old. I would stand behind the counter, sell bread, sell, maize, sell vegetables. And customers, you can't fool customers. They come and say, this loaf of yours is $1, the other one is $1.05. I'll go for the $1. So at the end of the day, for us, we've got to make sure that our ordinary people, who actually are the people we account to, understands why what we've done is good for them. Because many of them, it'll take time. But I'm never going to not take a decision that has taken us a long time and that is the right decision, because there's going to be an outcry and there's going to be criticism and there's going to be unjustified accusations. Europe, this, a lot of rubbish. You know, Europe respects us now more than ever before. Ever before. That's not what I'm saying. The whole world respects us more than ever before. And we are very clear. We need to work with the world. We don't control the world. Don't have a false perception that you control. We don't control the world. There are things they need from us, and we say, remember, I'm going to help you here, but you must help me on the other matter. So, brilliant. You raised a very important question. We have to do a better job of trying to, and not just a better job to explain, because the numbers are clear. You cannot arrive at any other decision. You cannot. It's impossible. Then this is the best thing that has ever happened in African football. The only thing, what should we have said? There's going to be an AFCON every year? We could have said that. And then you say, oh, yes. But we are more concerned not with, broad statements, but with the facts, with the detail. So we will indeed have a new competition. And it's going to, we've got no doubt, it's going to be enormously successful. And the test of this is African football will be much, much better in every one of the 54 nations. But thank you for those observations. Brilliant remarks and guidance on your side. The last one. Choose whoever you want, Lux.
This is not just extra time, President.
I think these are penalties now.
I think, President, let's just finish with our colleagues here in North Africa, and then afterwards we are done, Let's go there. There we go.
Nobody from Morocco, from Algeria, or from
the second one from Morocco.
Egypt, or from. I'm told. Okay, all right. They say some of them. We deliberately kept it close so that some can go there and some can come here. But it's important to give everybody. It's our host nation. Yes.
Ahmed Talal from 7 TV Moroccan Media. Coach, my question is that the Moroccan Kingdom...
You're right. I'm the coach. That's correct.
I'm sorry, President, I'm sorry. We've been dealing so much with coaches lately, that's why. President Motsepe, the Moroccan Kingdom, has given a perfect example to the world on how major sports media competitions should be organized by this AFCON 2025. Do you think this will lead other African countries to make improvements in terms of organization in future CAF competitions in all different aspects, especially that this AFCON has known all different kinds of records, highest scoring AFCON, biggest media broadcasts, and memorable performances by the fans?
Brilliant, excellent question. And let me tell you what I've always said. The reason why at AFCON, and we spoke about the referees and the VAR and the mesh commissioners, one of the key reasons in AFCON where governance is non-negotiable, where transparency, somebody spoke about transparency, non-negotiable, where ethics, non-negotiable. It's also because we know that the way that we behave and conduct ourselves in football will have an impact in the way that our businesses in Africa, our governments in Africa, whether the local government or the provincial government or the national governance, there'll be influence as much as ordinary citizens on the continent. So I've said this, we've got government representatives from Kenya, from Tanzania, from Uganda to learn, to see what an excellent job has been done here, and I've had excellent feedback. I was with the 3 presidents of the football federations who said, President, the last few days have been exciting. We've learned so much, and we are going to take and implement in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, what we've learned here, because we've never seen anything like this. And just my brother from Mauritania, you see, we never see ourselves as CAF, as anybody being against CAF, or anybody being against the leadership of CAF. We see ourselves as, we need to engage with you, and there are issues where, as I said, where there's misunderstandings, and we welcome criticism of whatever kind, whether it's justified or even false. It's important for us to get exposed and deal with those issues. I think we're finished now.
We are done, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Can I just, in conclusion, say thank you so much to everybody, and thanks for the work you are doing, and we are enormously grateful. And I really hope that you will enjoy your stay here today and tomorrow, and we will continue to engage with you. Merci beaucoup. Can we clap hands for all the journalists who are here? Can I repeat? Can we clap hands for all the journalists who are here? Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.